Yeah. Eric, I can't hear you.
You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, today's a fun day for me. We get to talk to the ladies of Reach across Johnson County. And they have the RISE seminar October 13th and 14th over at Pathway. And it's a really big deal. It's a very successful deal from last year. And I think it's going to be even more so even this year, because now what you had the 1 year to plan it and whatever else, to get to work some of the kinks out, right?
Yes.
All right. So y'all introduce yourselves to the vast listening audience. Okay, Erica, you go first.
I'm Erica. I'm the coalition coordinator.
Hey everyone, my name is Ashley. I'm our mental health project coordinator.
And my name is Gracie. I'm also our mental health project coordinator.
Is Gracie a nickname, or is that your?
It's my real government name.
Okay, real
Government.
Yeah. Well, see, my daughter's middle name is Grace, and my mother-in-law's name is Grace, and I call her Gracie, and she says, "You're still around, huh?" Anyway, we're going to talk about all the what's coming up on the RISE seminar and the benefits of it and the programs, how it's going to be run. There's no cost to it, but there is a registration process, right? So you at least have an idea of the numbers. And there's also daycare. There's also going to be vendors. It's just going to be a swell time. So before we jump into the swell time, we're going to split up our sponsors a little bit. I have a new one to introduce to you all today, and it's a friend of both Erica's and mine. So I'm really glad to have her on board. So we're just going to run through the first five. They'll start talking, and then we'll jump into the second five after appropriate break. Okay, thank you, CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Thank you for the programs you provide and also the ability to help promote this kind of program. They got all sorts of programs of their own on their website, so check out CrossFitBurleson.com, and you can find out class times and programs and memberships and all the above. Thank you, Shandy. Shandy Stogsdill Group. She's going to be she's very supportive of this kind of thing. We talked about this earlier. She really thinks it's a great thing y'all are doing, because she is very interested in what is now a new term I've learned, neurodivergent. That it's a new term for me. I guess that's the more appropriate term. I don't know. Anyway, but Shandy's taught it to me. But Shandy also has taught me a lot about real estate. So if she can help you, like she helped us last month. So if you're looking to move in and around the area, that's who you should talk to. Also, our friend Dotto's. We're at our place. I was there today with the men in my Sunday school class, and we came pretty close to solving all the world's problems. But then we had to go to work. And so, you know how it is. It's a bunch of grumpy old men, but that's okay. It's a good group of guys. So our place is always great. The food is great. Service is great. We've been there often enough, and the staff has been there often enough that we show up and they say, okay, I know you want this, and I know you want that, and you'll have this. So they know us pretty well by now. That's a nice thing. Also, Wild Cigar and Culture. I've gone over there. Last time I was there about 2 weeks ago, and it's always a great place to have a smoke or a drink, and they have a really impressive humidor. If you have somebody in your life that smokes cigars, or if you smoke cigars yourself, that's a place to get them, or a gift card if you're not sure what they want. But it's a great place to go, and it's quiet, and you do business there. I walked in there last time. It was in the afternoon, and they had 4 or 5 people there working and on their computers, and so it's a good place for that kind of thing. Also, our friends Tiffany over at Local Life Magazine. The new one's been out for about 2 weeks now, and she goes to 30,000 homes. So if you're advertising around this area, and she's always expanding a little bit more as it grows. So 30,000 homes receive her magazine, plus a lot of businesses get multiple copies. Like Otto had several, at least when it came out. Now they're all gone. So there you are. You're getting a lot of coverage with her. Okay, now October 13th and 14th.
You remembered.
Yes, I did my homework. We also got your stuff you sent us as well. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Here we go. RISE 2023. First of all, Erica, tell us about the overall purpose of this.
I would say just to bring mental health and wellness to the community. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people are struggling in it, and it's not even really about being neurodivergent or having a diagnosis, but just feeling like your best self. Mm-hmm. And being able to move through life and all the different stages and seasons. We all have difficult things that we go through. And
well, when we talk about neurodivergent, I'm used to talking like that with your niece Bianca. All right, but is it different for people that may have bipolar or other issues, whatever? Is that neurodivergent still the term you would use?
For a lot of things, I believe I'm ADD actually, so I am considered neurodivergent. I just kind of have a little different way of thinking.
But something like dyslexia, would that be considered neurodivergent?
I believe it does fall into that category.
Well, see, it's a new way of thinking, you know.
I believe autism, ADD, ADHD, OCD, and
All the
dyslexia, some other different things, they all fall into that category because it really just means a different way of thinking.
Well, Gracie, you just got your master's, right? Yeah, I'm sure, you know, when I was going through education school, we did psychology and teaching different learning styles and teaching children with different abilities. We didn't call it neurodivergent then. I mean, we had some appropriate term, but it was basically just differences. And, you know, coming from that UTA program, what is the latest thing when they're talking about when it comes to these kind of issues?
I think a big focus has been trying to meet those kids where they're at. Instead of holding all of the children in your classroom to the same set of standards or the same type of learning that best will suit them, you need to figure out, you know, who's in your class, what are they struggling with at home, are they neurodivergent, do they have a different way of thinking? And so that kid that, you know, you might have originally thought of as the problem child, maybe he just needs a different approach to kind of get through to him. And so a big focus on, I would say, meeting them where they're at so that they can have the most growth and get the most out of what they're learning.
Ashley, how did you get interested in this? Is this something you want to do when you were high school and college and whatnot, or is it just something that came to you and you said, this is it, this is what I want to do?
Yeah, I definitely kind of got led here. It was, I think this is a very, like, the job I'm in isn't something that many people are even aware of. So I don't think it's something that I could have dreamed of when I was a kid. I actually wanted to be a nurse, and I went to nursing school, and from there I discovered my passion for mental health, and I got switched over to public health, and then once I graduated I got right into this job. So yeah, I kind of
fell into it. Well, that's
yes,
how
I fell into it.
That's kind of the way I did also with school teaching, because, you know, I graduated, I wanted to be a banker, and I worked in the finance field for a couple of years and said, this isn't for me. And so that's kind of probably what happened with you. You found something that found you.
Yes.
In a way. So
it was like as I pursued one path, I started to realize, I think I kind of belong over here.
Well, it's a similar thing, though, nursing and all this, because it's caring for people and their needs and whatnot. So it's kind of in that same broad category. How did you fall into it, Erica? I know you were talking prior to the show. We were talking about your previous jobs. You know, you were like the queen of the Avon ladies and stuff like that. And
I've done a little bit of everything with her. You know, it seems to be always somehow talking. So haha to my teachers.
yeah,
You know, always in trouble for talking too much.
No, I can't believe
And
that.
it was a friend. She led me to this, and it was coming from a place of healthcare where I myself wasn't doing so well mentally. It had just taken a toll, and you know, you can't really pour from an empty cup. And I didn't really have a lot to give anybody else at that point in my career. And I love this job. It has been amazing. It has really been on my heart, and I do feel like it was God's hand just kind of leading me to this path.
Well, I have no doubt. I mean, and that's kind of how I think about my teaching career. It wasn't like the clouds parted and, you know, Damascus Road experience or something like that, but it came pretty close to that. It just kind of struck me that I needed to be doing something else, and I went and did something else for 30-something years, and I haven't regretted it since. And so it's always interesting, though, because when I talk to y'all in this area, nonprofit area and things like that, I mean, I don't know how many kids in high school think I want to work in the nonprofit sector.
Yeah.
You know, because from what I understand, it's not a great way to get rich quick. Is that what I'm hearing? You know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I'm pretty rich now.
Oh, good. Well, good. Yeah, it's your niece Bianca Reyes D says they're paid with purpose or something like that. You know, but still, I mean, it must be interesting because you know, I don't think a lot of the kids that I taught, I mean, they wanted to do something important, but when they didn't think about what y'all are doing. Now, I think hopefully, though, it'd be more of an option, more presented to them. And I've been asking this a lot from the nonprofit people coming. We have had a really good conversation with a couple of your peers in this area. How do y'all keep yourself sustained? I mean, it's tough. Particularly, I'm talking to like Debbie Beeman at Promises and Jennifer Woods at Harvest House and others, Lisa Schwartz at Crazy 8, on and on. How do y'all keep yourself from being depleted, I guess? How do y'all do it?
Well, I have a membership and I get a monthly massage.
Ah.
That is one of the things that like I cannot go without. I'm very spoiled in that category.
Monthly massage. Well, I guess if it works. But I mean, there's got to be some mornings you think, wow, some days are tougher than others.
Yes. My relationship with God is definitely what keeps me going on a day-to-day basis. Just time in the Word and in prayer. I think having a good support system, and I'm very invested in my health. I think that helps too. Just remaining active and
like some sort of workout regimen.
Working out, trying to eat healthy. They have such a huge impact on your mental health, and then there's so much science behind it. It's fascinating to me, but yeah, I think that's how I take care of myself.
How about you?
I think a combination of all those things. Of course, self-care is important, but things like this and some of the education that they bring to us is fascinating. It's so interesting to learn how the ways that you were brought up as a child or some of your experiences can shape who you are as a person, but also some of the things that aren't malleable, some of the things that you're just kind of born to, some of those kinds of things. But I think just continuously like checking in with yourself and making sure that you take time for yourself, self-care. Shout out to my laundry lady, because that's my big self-care thing, is I have somebody that does my laundry for me, and it is like the best thing ever.
Well, my wife has somebody who does the laundry for her too, but I don't know if I'm really that supportive. But anyway, being semi-retired gives you a lot more time to take care of the house, I've been told. Anyway, but earlier you were talking about your career as a beautician. I mean, you probably heard a lot of therapy there. You probably are in that probably gave you a pretty good insight about human psychologies and whatnot.
Yeah, I agree. I love that having supportive coworkers and staff, they actually do care about our mental health and well-being, whereas before I felt like it was all take, and what we could provide for them. But at our company, they actually, do a wellness and like, hey, make sure you take your lunches, make sure you're taking time for yourself.
I think the other nonprofits are also emphasizing this more than they probably did a few years ago. Self-care, take care of yourself, try to get yourself emotionally replenished, because it's got to be tough. I mean, some of the stories, and then of course you have the usual stresses about financing and things of that nature and fundraising and such. And, I've been talking to several of your peers, and summer is tough. It really is, not just because of the heat, but also because the needs are growing. Do you find that y'all's needs or improve or expanding or get more demanded of you than you were maybe a year or 18 months ago?
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
I would say the longer that we're doing this, the more gaps we're seeing within our community. And the more gaps there are, the more work there is to be done.
So you see, like, what you want to do more, you just need financing, personnel, et cetera. Also, we talked before about access. You need that as well. I guess that's, as y'all grow, I think that access problem is going to be less and less, because I think people are going to be more aware of what you offer at the school level. I think it'd be a good program for City of Burleson or City of Cleveland or whatever to engage in. Have y'all come in and do mental health seminars for their employees, because, I could tell you would talk about BISD and the kids. I could tell you the teachers could use it. And it's always a joke with us, but the stress levels are so much greater. And I talk to them now, and they're in need of some sort of support systems, I guess, the best phrase I can come up with. It helps them keep their tank full as best they can. Is that what you do, Ashley?
Yes, we actually are. We have a project that we just launched. That's why I was kind of laughing. So literally, in your words, were what we started with to call this.
Oh, how about that? That's like a ESPN.
Yeah, we call them Fill Your Cup funds, but they started out as we wanted to find a way to support teachers in Johnson County. I'll let you talk about it.
So, of course, I think earlier Erica said you can't pour from an empty cup. And so often teachers are faced with so many dilemmas that they are, between their personal lives, their school, the kids that they are in charge of, they are at some point they're drained and they are pouring from an empty cup. And so we created this to help financially in what ways we can. So, we've had a request to put a wellness corner into a campus with a massage chair. And
that'd be great.
Yeah, just so that they can go and take a break if they need to get away from whatever it is they're dealing with. They can go and take a break. We're funding a class pet to help teach that responsibility and, just projects like that teachers would normally have to pay for out of pocket.
Well, we had a lady on our campus that was she taught certain courses, but she also was a licensed massage person. And for fundraisers, she would do that, and boy, the line formed to the left, for teachers wanting that. And we'd always used to joke about having a margarita machine in the teacher's lounge. It got to be less and less of a joke as the years went on, but it was, a lot of the teachers I was dealing with were, they were reacting by basically leaving the profession.
Yeah.
That was their biggest way of dealing. They just said they didn't have it anymore. And they would take whatever financial hit that came with it.
There's been a lot of turnover in all districts, but we've heard of a lot, even in Johnson County districts as well, of turnover. And so just doing what we can to try to find that sustainability for them.
So if you are a teacher listening, please reach out to Gracie.
Well, they're in class now, all of them. Burleson just went yesterday. He was, I think, one of the last in the area. But most people access this show later. That they may not be listening right now in real time, but you'll either catch it on Facebook later or they'll catch it on the download on Apple. But I know there's a great need for that. Now, I know in the last school board election, all 5 of the candidates said the same thing about we need to do more to improve this kind of thing for teachers and staff. And I know that Dallas Owen, who won the race, is really pushing this. And she also is helping you with Pathways, right?
Yeah, she does come to our coalition meetings.
Yes, so Dallas is very much interested in this kind of thing. And so maybe now that you have a colleague and a friend on the board who can, it's not that the board would be resistant to this, but they get a lot of requests and they only have so much of a budget and all this, but now you have a friend on there, she can help you get at least entry into the conversation. I've gotten to know the school board people well over the years, and it's a job I would not want to have because of, all these things coming in, for various needs from various groups and all the mandates from the state, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But so this, when you're talking about this Fill Your Cup thing, actually, you said it was a separate funding for it of sorts?
It all comes from our CCP COVID funding, but we have set aside a set amount for this project.
So do you have on your donate button on your page, do you have a drop down box and could put money into it specifically, or does it just go to your general budget, allocate it that way? I guess that's an Erica question.
Like if someone was wanting to donate to the funds.
Here's $100.
Yeah.
If they want to donate specifically to that project, then we can absolutely allocate the money to go there.
Yeah, because
just mark it in the notes and we'll make sure it goes there.
Well, okay. Because I also know of a teacher retirement group here, retired teachers. That might be something they're interested in. And I know a couple of the board members on that. So maybe I'll pass them a note,
That would be awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
But most of your focus is on the kids, right? When it comes to the schools?
When it comes to our education programs, yes, our focus is on the kids. But me and Ashley are fortunate enough to actually get to focus on those teachers. And so this project is, while it could be incentives for their students, it could benefit the kids as well directly. We are really focused on benefiting the teachers.
Well, a teacher with a more healthy outlook and attitude is going to benefit the students. I can promise you.
Exactly.
The students will benefit because most of the teachers I know, God bless them. I mean, they would. There'd be some days after school where they were pretty emotionally stressed, but then the next day they would show up and like, well, that was yesterday. Today's a new day, kind of thing, and they would just pony up what they needed. And it was some of these older teachers when I was first starting. I said, how in the world have you stayed in this career this long without committing a felony or being arrested for drunk driving, whatever. But they just had what it took. They just had whatever it is. But do you have programs like this for like firefighters, police, EMT, anything like that?
Oh, definitely. I think they're definitely not in it for the income. It's for the outcome.
Well, do you have programs specific like we're talking about?
Not this specific type
At
of
this
project.
time.
We have done something for the police departments. We gave them all stress kits. But yeah, this is specifically for teachers.
Okay. Well, as funding and personnel grow, maybe
We could do something more.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
That would be wonderful. And then, of course, our conference is going to be open to everybody. And we would love for us to have a lot of first responders, teachers, really anybody. I mean, we opened it up to 12 and over. So we're hoping to have something for everybody.
Well, I just know we hear a lot about the stresses in the police force and the firefighting, and it is, if and when the money and the time and the people are made available, that might be a good avenue and you can do what you're doing for teachers, for them, because, gosh, you hear some stories. I have friends that are either former police or current, and divorce is very high, alcoholism is very high, things of that nature. Teachers, not quite so much, but you'd be surprised how many teachers that really had to struggle with, shall we say, self-medication.
Yeah.
And a lot of, kids look at their teachers in a certain way. I remember the first time I saw a teacher outside the classroom, what are you doing here? It was at the grocery store, and they don't realize that, they may be going through a divorce, or they may have sick kids, or they're, having financial strains, whatever else, but they still have to put on that face and put it together. But the police, my friends tell me it's rough because of the stresses of the job and the hours and the possibilities of what could happen on any given day and that kind of stuff. So that might be something to look at as you expand, but that might be like a 5-year plan kind of thing. But you're bigger now than you were a year ago, aren't you not?
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think when they started out, there was like we only had 2 staff members, and now we really need to kind of even divide up Johnson County because we have just been so involved in trying to do different things in such a short period of time that we're really stretched thin sometimes, but it really is a work of heart.
Well, when somebody wants to join your organization, first of all, what are you looking for in the person, and what are you looking for in credentials?
So credentials, it kind of goes based off which program they're interested in. So I know we prefer at least a bachelor's degree if you're going to be on our education side.
In what field? Bachelor's.
Preferably some type of human service or education, but really any degree. Also, any work history that you have is also going to be helpful if you've worked with kids before, or if you have worked in the community or done something similar. That's going to be really helpful as well. And I guess this would be a good time to bring up, we do have some open positions right now.
I was going to ask you that next, but
We have a youth prevention open position. So that would be our education where you go into schools and work with the kids. And I believe we're also going to be opening up a peer recovery specialist position as well pretty soon. We just had some movement shifting inside of our agency. So we will have some open positions coming up.
And internships, right?
Yes. And we do internships for college students. They are not paid internships, but that's actually how I found this job. I started as an intern, and here I am 3 years later. So,
well, actually, how long have you been with the organization?
I've been here a little over a year and a half.
And it's been one big party, right?
One big celebration.
Yeah, I know. But so you have some openings. So you are expanding. When you talked about source of funding, you do get some assistance from the state, right?
Right.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
actually part of the state grant, and
okay.
then we have a coworker that does the federal grant.
The
So
grant
we're
writing
responsible
process.
for all that fun paperwork that goes
Oh.
along with it, and then they have
Yeah.
a separate grant.
Right. But you also get private donations as well. You know,
Not as much.
We partner with certain districts in both Ellis and Johnson County that do donate each year, but our primary funding is from state or federal government.
well, if somebody hears this show and said, I really want to help what you're doing, if they sent you a check, you're not going to send it back, are you?
Absolutely not.
No,
Yeah.
and with all the things that we're trying to provide, all the, especially all the newer things like this type of thing.
Oh,
this
this
is-
she's pointing to the screen, by the way.
Yes,
Okay.
for our Rise conference,
Yeah.
this is something we want to provide to the community for free, but to continue to provide things like that, we really could use additional funding because there's certain things our grants don't cover and don't allow us to pay for.
Well, on the other side of this now new mid-commercial break here, Taylor will put that on the screen. We'll talk about Rise and talk about what you're going to be offering, who's going to be offering, and daycare issues. I understand you're providing daycare, which is not always the case with some of these programs. So that's a really good thing. All right, but anyway, we'll just talk about this other group. And these are all BNI people, so you know all these people. Southern Gym with Gayla over. Have you been over to the new floor?
Not to her new location, but I
Yeah.
need to. I have some work I want her to do.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, Robin will help you with that as well. It's really very nice. And I always compliment Gayla on her foresight. She has a bullpen area to dump the husbands. And so while the ladies are shopping, they can have a Dr. Pepper or a beer or something like that. And she's supposed to have a TV pretty soon. And I know she's going to be having horse races on all the time because that's her thing. But anyway, Southern Gym will get you jewelry repaired or cleaned or designed, or certainly they have some very nice inventory to look at. Also, another friend of ours, Old Pro, John Williams at Old Pro Roofing. I'll call him at 817-734-2756. I'm going to have him on the show about 10 days from now. So we talk about roofing. I know that sounds like a really thrilling topic, but it's an important topic. Every time we go to our BNI meetings, do you ever feel like you need to rush home and find out if our house is still standing? 'Cause
Well, he just did our roof, so I
Did he
know
really?
it's on there really well.
Oh, did he really? Okay.
He actually did teach me a lot of stuff about a roof that I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know, and things that you really need to be careful with your
Mm-hmm.
insurance. Like it has an expiration date pretty much that they stop paying for your roof after a certain point, the insurance company.
He's stressed that pretty well, as is our next sponsor, Melissa Harmon at Texas Farm Bureau. She just sold some insurance to my daughter on Monday, so car insurance, and she saved my daughter some money. So it's 682-804-0534, and it's Melissa, she lives for insurance. It's I make fun of her. She's like Flo on Progressive, So y'all ladies need to get your insurance checked. All right.
She was able to save me a
I'm
couple
actually,
$100.
Right.
my insurance is Texas Farm Bureau.
Is that, and
Yes.
have you had use of them yet? I mean, had a file claim? Well, they tell me that the claim service, and this is not just me saying it because she's a sponsor, but the claim service is, the best because they really go out of their way. John, who deals with insurance companies all the time, says they're among the most client-friendly he's ever dealt with. And Lisa, who's on next, with Stop Restoration, when she gets it right, win the first time. Yeah, she says the same thing. So if you have some sort of damage on your home, fire damage, water damage, a lot of people think it's natural disasters they take care of. No, they do a lot of stuff with like leaks in the house that nobody is aware of, like behind the showers, or a hot water heater causing mold problems and that kind of thing. And they deal with all of those things. And so, Lisa is a lively person, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, she is so sweet too.
She really is sweet. She's very maternal, I guess is a good way. She treats us all like family. So if you need to have that taken care of, you have Morris and Lisa will take care of you really well. And there's our new sponsor. This is somebody who's very sweet also, Candy Gow, over at U Mortgage. Her office is over in the B&G building, in that standalone building in the parking lot, and she will take care of your mortgage needs. And so her number, 817-925-2661, the way the interest rates are going now, you need to have somebody that knows what they're talking about if you want to buy a new home. And she's been doing this a long time. I've used her twice before. She and her partner, Sammy, have been together on various different institutions for 20 years. And I've used them. I used Candy twice already in other stops in her career, and Candy takes care of business. And when we were refinancing my house a couple of times, it was, a lot of it was, you get the paperwork done. Okay, well, they'll take care of all the other stuff, and then they call you in. You sign that huge stack of papers, and she had it all out there. And so Candy is really, really professional at what she does. So if you're looking to refinance, you're looking to buy a new home, particularly when the rates start going down, which they will, you might want to keep this in mind. So anyway, let's talk about Rise. All right, there you go. Okay, you have the various speakers here, including Jess Ekstrom. I assume that these are all celebrities in y'all's world, but whatnot. You got Jess Ekstrom. I can't believe it. How did you book her? All right, then Alex Korb, neuroscientist, coach, and best-selling author. We also have Cassandra LeClaire and Cheyenne Davis. I actually had a student by that name, but it ain't the same Cheyenne. I could tell you. But anyway, so I was kind of half kidding. These are well-known speakers in y'all's profession, right? So how did y'all book them? Charm and good looks, what?
Well, we had to interview all of them to make sure that that's the vision, that they fit the vision that we'd want to see.
Yeah.
I think because we really had a certain thing on our heart that we were looking for, and really trying to make our conference be that. This year we added the sun as part of our logo.
Well, it's a nice, bright way of positive energy.
To give the individual person the strength to rise through, whatever things life hands you.
It's kind of a side note. When I was younger, we didn't talk about these things. All right, certainly not as open. And if you were seeing a therapist, or if you were taking some sort of medication, it was something that was kept within the family because there was a stigma attached. I like the fact that the stigma is much less of one now. And I am surprised sometimes at the number of people I know that either have a therapy of some sort or some sort of pharmaceutical assistance or whatever you want to call it. I'm glad that these things are more discussed out in the open, because there's a lot of damage that's been done when it wasn't. But what the vision you have, what is it you're wanting to see happen in the community? That they avail themselves more of these services, or what? Y'all tell me.
Go ahead.
I think it's a mindset. We want to teach people more about mental resiliency, and whether this is a person that has a clinical diagnosis, we want them to know that they can still thrive in life. Or if you do not, you will encounter storms in life, and some of these storms are really heavy and really knock you down. And we want to just help everyone realize that they can get unstuck, they can keep going, they can thrive, like they can still have a beautiful season and a beautiful life. So that was our idea behind the Finding Your Strength, and with the sun, and then with these speakers, what Erica was talking about was us trying to find speakers that had sessions that were related to this theme, this idea of mental resiliency. So, like Jess Ekstrom's session is titled Finding the Bright Side. And Alex Korb, he has a book called The Upward Spiral, where he talks a lot about the science behind depression and anxiety, and how that's a downward spiral. And he talks about the science behind, let's create this upward spiral. Let's reverse that.
You mentioned the science of it. See, in my day, it wasn't seen as a science. It was seen as a problem, a mental problem, or a weakness. And now, after all this, many years has passed, it's seen more. There's science has become better known.
Yes, there is a science. There is something that's going on in the brain behind these different mental health topics. And I'm really excited for his session. I think a lot of people want to know about the science behind it. One of our sessions last year, we had Dr. Crystal Collier, and she talked a lot about she has a book called The Neuro Whereabouts Guide, and she talked a lot about the science and the brain behind depression, behind addiction, and just like flipping that, and a lot of our participants, they loved that session. So we really wanted to get someone that could hit this perspective again. Cassandra LeClaire, she will be talking kind of about resiliency, but also from like the relational aspect and how our relationships have an impact on our mental health. So we're really excited. I think it's going to be a great event. People loved the event last year. I really think this year is going to be even better.
Well, it's going to be a lot bigger too, and that's a good thing.
The goal.
Well, and I fully see this within 2, 3, 4 years. It's going to be as an expected event, so to speak. Maybe you're right now you're really pushing to awareness, get the people, let them know that this is happening. I think in a couple of years or more, it's going to be a routine thing. People know it's early October. It's time for the mental health seminar. I also find it interesting and good that it's held in a church. Not that they're the church is providing the space. It's not endorsing its particular doctrine, which is fine. But in my day, again, particularly people in the church kept this to themselves because a lot of people thought there was a spiritual weakness of some sort, or you didn't pray hard enough, or you're being punished, or whatever you want to talk about. Now people understand that's not the case, and I see more and more churches embracing this side of the issue, as well as whatever spiritual needs could be addressed as well. But they're also acknowledging that not all these problems are spiritual in origin, but some are physical, or some of them, are mental. Some of them are the stresses of life and whatever else. So I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And Cheyenne Davis, she is actually a pastor.
Oh, okay.
And motivational speaker, but also a survivor of addiction.
Really?
Because if you are not well mentally, that can lead you to self-medicating.
I don't know much about addiction, so I may sound kind of ignorant, but I've been under the impression that once you're addicted to something, really, it's a lifelong struggle. It isn't like one day it's solved and cured and it never arises again. It's something that you have to deal with all your life. Is that a fair assessment?
I think that's the case for some people, but not all. I think some people do overcome it and don't have the constant battle for the rest of their lives.
Well, I'm just thinking about my extended family and alcohol and that kind of thing. That they would, we're not going to go down that path anymore, but we had to make sure that a path wasn't inadvertently provided. You know what I'm saying? We had to always kind of make sure that was taken care of, because we all understood that alcoholism is a trait. It's not just a bad habit, and so we had to kind of accommodate that. And I just wondered if that was true in the general or just my experience, whatever. But now as far as the time of it, it starts at 6:00 on the 13th.
6:30.
6:30, and childcare is provided.
Yes.
At night and the Saturday as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll be open a little earlier. We'll have the doors open for registration and some snacks.
At 5:30.
Okay. Did you have childcare last year? I don't remember.
We did.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's certainly another issue you have to deal with. I've been talking a lot with your peers in other areas, and childcare is an issue. But I'm glad y'all provide that, because that would be one less obstacle for them to attend. So is it the Pathway
Yes,
people?
that is thanks to Pathway Church. Their staff is providing it.
They have been so awesome and helpful, and it's just really helped our cause a lot.
If you've known the Owen family as long as I have, and this town has, none of this is even remotely a surprise. They've been genuinely blessings to this community, and I we'd be in deep weeds without them. It seems like between them and First Baptist, which is where I go, they provide a lot of these spaces for these kind of things, for chamber and other things. I've been hassling the council members. We need a space like they do in Cleburne, but that's another story, another show. But it's so like you come in Friday night. You mentioned you had a comedian, right?
Mm-hmm. We are actually doing a comedy show, and I'm so excited because, in a way, they are doing a mental health based topic to kind of stay on. And then Cheyenne will be there Friday nights. speaking. And so we're really excited because we want it to be a very fun, very engaging, uplifting experience. We don't want everybody to just think, draining day full of talking about, my mental health or well-being. But we really want you to rise. We really want you to be lifted up and have that excitement and joy.
You mentioned the phrase mental health. It's people have mental health. All of us do.
Yes.
Good, bad, or in the middle. So you're not just exclusively trying to target or market, shall we say, to those that are having problems. Even if you feel like you have good mental health, this is still be a good thing to go to. It's like going to a gym in a sense, right?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
For prevention. Yes.
And almost everybody, even if you're not yourself having some of these issues, everybody knows somebody that is. And
That's true.
And everybody's family or close friends have something like this, and it's good to know how you can deal with it. As okay, I may not have the same problem as my relative here, but I want to know how to deal with my relative. That'd be do you have you going to have anything like that? It might be something at a future date.
We have a breakout session that is titled QPR, and it's like related to suicide prevention in other people. So if you see signs in someone else, what you can do to help. But this conference is mostly inward focused. I don't know if we can talk about that. Yeah.
Well,
Let's do it. Let's tell everybody.
go ahead.
You do it.
Okay.
Okay, so you said that this might be an ongoing thing. We are trying to bring another conference, but this one will be earlier in the year, next year. We've already got a kind of idea theme. So this one is more inward focused on yourself, finding the strength, finding your own strength. But our next one will be more about relationships.
Well, you mentioned it yesterday at the Vietnam meeting. I was going to ask you about that. So you kind of segued right into it. So you're going to do something, would it be in the spring of 2024?
Yes, that's what we're hoping.
And it's going to be how you can help deal with loved ones and friends that are going through these things.
Well, not just that, but anybody that you come in contact with in your day-to-day, just like the communication efforts. Just changing all of your relationships and how we can all be better to each other and build each other up.
Do you have a date and place already?
Not quite. We haven't quite ironed out a date.
Okay, well,
but we're already getting excited about that.
I could tell. That's a good way also to keep that as a focus in the community. To not just once a year, but twice a year, because a lot of people think, well, I don't need this because I'm mentally healthy, at least I think I am, and that kind of thing. But my spouse or my kids or my coworker or whatever, they could use some help. Well, it's like we could all use training on how to help deal with that, particularly if you have something that's really serious. As teachers, we're trained about suicide prevention watch kind of thing. What are the telltale signs? What are the signs of you think a kid may be getting involved in drugs and stuff like that? And we had to be trained what to do, who to call if had a student come in with obviously physically abused. We had to go through all that training, and I think a lot of people are like who are not in that profession go, I don't know what to do. I don't know who to call. So that's going to be pretty useful. And you could probably have a health professional say, here, this is what, here's what we do. Or do we have a state agency or county agencies that do we have are they well funded enough? I mean, because I hear all the time, there really isn't much available to most people.
As far as trainings
No,
or
I'm
resources?
sorry, resources. I kind of switched on you right in mid-sentence, but I had a couple of friends that their kids had issues, but they didn't know where to go, and there really weren't a lot of public resources.
So one of the things that I've been working on for RISE is a resource list for things not just in Johnson County, but also Tarrant, surrounding cities and things like that. So where you have a place to look for resources, because there are things that are available and there are things out there, but a lot of people don't even know where to begin to look for this kind of stuff. They're not well advertised, or word about them doesn't get around to the people who truly need them. And so that is one of the things that everyone will get to take home with them is a it goes into counseling to psychiatric issues, addiction, shelters, just a well-rounded resource list of all the stuff that is available to them.
And we'll also have a lot of resources available there that day for free.
Okay. And are you going to have like counseling clinics or other mental health organizations with like tables and
Yes.
whatnot? Okay.
Yes. And they'll have all their information. We're hoping to have information on how you even get started, like who to call on your insurance, how to go about the whole process of even finding somebody that takes your insurance, that takes, maybe they specialize in trauma or maybe PTSD or any other kind of neurodivergent issues. But we want everybody to be able to access some of these resources. And so we are trying to provide as many as we can there at our event. We would love to have as many vendor resources as we can.
You mentioned PTSD. People associate that with like military, but that's not
All
it.
trauma.
All trauma. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's.
I've had nursing friends that
Yeah.
had PTSD after COVID.
Oh, really? Okay. I wouldn't say my teacher friends had PTSD, but they did have episodes that and their stress, and it took them a little while maybe to get past them. But I don't know if that's the same thing we're talking about.
And you can have a thing that's cumulative PTSD where you're just constantly exposed to these high pressure, intense situations where it starts affecting you mentally, and then affects your day to day.
Well, I think that's another whole area of exploration, because people, like, they hear PTSD, they think of somebody coming back from Afghanistan or Iraq or something like that. And yes, that's true, but I bet police and fire have the same thing. I believe, and some of these nonprofit people that deal with day after day with people in such dire straits, I think they get it as well, because they feel like they can't solve everybody's problem, and it's
Right.
just tough. By the way, you are going to be on here the 21st of September, right?
Well, to put me on the spot,
Yeah.
I'd have to check my book.
That's
but that might be...
That's National Giving Day.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I have to.
That's the
make
first
it a
time you
point to
came
be
here.
there. Yes, sir.
Or send one of your friends here, because we're going to have several people here. Some people some people you may have met once or twice, but it's a real big deal. Y'all two young ladies went here last year for, but we had some of the nonprofits, about 7 of them. They came and sat there about 10 minutes and gave their appeals, on Giving Day, and also what they do. And what really touched me about it was how close they all were together. They all were like a very collegiate group, and they were not an iota of rivalry or anything like that. So it was really kind of touching to see how they all bond together in their common, not just their common causes, but their common issues they have to deal with. So that might be worth seeing, who knows? But that's the first time we met.
Yeah, I think that was a wonderful opportunity to get to visit with someone or to get to visit with them, because a lot of them we already do have relationships with because we've helped put together projects.
Yeah.
We can do a lot more together.
Well, what was interesting is they would say, well, that's not my lane, but this is her lane. And they would, and I know that, when people come in the Next Step Women's Center or something like that, and they're in financial distress or whatnot, Megan knows how to send them over to Jennifer over at Harvest House. Or Debbie Beeman knows, okay, this person needs something we don't provide, but this person does. And so it was really I think Johnson County and Burleson in particular are blessed communities to have this kind of, outreach, service, dedication to the common good. I don't know if everybody has that blessing. So, we're getting close on time, I suppose. I got 3 of you. I like to speak the last words, but anything else before we do that? Anything else you want to talk about with Rise? So I don't want to leave anything out.
I think sharing also just that there will be some really great breakout sessions. I know that's listed on the flyer, but 2 of our main session speakers will be having a breakout session. There will be like a variety of topics, but also some interactive sessions like art. There's 2 different art therapies. There will be a pottery class.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, because these are mental health tools that you can learn to incorporate. We have one on nutrition, on anxiety, about domestic violence, sexual assault, grief. So like different topics. We'll have like around 13 different breakout sessions
Wow.
to choose from.
So you're covering a wide spectrum here.
Very wide.
Yeah, and very specific. That's good
Yes.
because, if you have a big group setting, my problem may be much different than the person to my left. And that's interesting. The anxiety one, I see that more and more of a problem, particularly in teenagers.
Yes.
And they are welcome to come.
I hope they do. But, again, I'm referring back to my own youth and my experience. It just seems like anxiety's gone through the roof in the last decade. And I don't know if it's always been there and it just become noticed or it really is getting worse. I don't know.
It's definitely the most like reported mental health diagnosis. Anxiety is number one.
I wonder what you can do about it. I mean, well, I guess they can go to that breakout
Yeah,
session and
come
help.
to our session.
Well, and teach them coping
Exactly.
methods. That's
Exactly.
and there'll be some grub there. Any food trucks?
Oh, yes. I know a lot of people like food trucks, especially me. We are having different food vendors for lunch.
Yeah.
So you can bring your lunch or you can visit one of our wonderful food vendors.
Bring a few bucks. Go and visit our food trucks because that's become more and more of an industry here in Burleson. I don't know if they've done it yet, but I think they talked about City Council having like a food truck park.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it would. I have Victoria Johnson on next week. I'll ask her about that, and if she does or not, I said, well, why not? But anyway, y'all finish this off. Y'all take
I have
the last
one
minutes.
more comment about Rise.
Okay, take it
this
away.
year, different than last year, we are able to offer free CEs and CEUs for social workers, for people in the prevention field,
CEUs for the non-initiated.
the continuing education hours. So
Right.
whenever you get licensed by the state, you have to keep up that license by going to trainings. And a lot of times you have to pay for that. And so we are offering free certificates of education for kind of social services, human services fields, marriage, family therapist, LPCs. The whole list is on our website and also on this yellow flyer at the very bottom. But that is another opportunity for our community to benefit from.
We had to do that for teaching. I had to get 30 hours of training every summer at Advanced Placement Institute, which, was useful, but it's a long week. But
Yes.
But anyway, so anything else you'd like to add, ladies?
Just sign up.
It's like that is a point. There is no cost, but it's not really advised you just show up.
Right. We'd love to make sure everybody had a swag bag.
And a shirt.
And,
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can't do anything without a shirt.
Exactly.
It's like college days. Everything going on campus had a shirt that goes with it. Where do they sign up?
If they want to visit our website, it's reachjoco.org. And then we have a page for Rise 2023, and there is going to be a button that says sign up now. And so you'll just do that, answer a couple questions, give us your shirt size, and you're good to go.
Is there any maximum capacity?
We may have to try to cut it off around 300, 350.
Really?
But we would love to pack the house.
Yeah, well,
I
of
would.
course.
That's my ultimate goal this year. Really, is to pack that house full. Because that just means we're helping that many more people.
I bet you will. How many did you have last year? About 250? Is that right?
No, last year we surprisingly it was 100, but we feel like that was a really good start for,
Well, that's a good
for our
start.
first conference, and we got lots of compliments, and there was a lot of people that after the fact they said they wish they had known. So we're really hoping to reach as many as possible this year.
Well, with my vast listening audience, how can you not? I mean, holy cow. Anyway, so but 350 would be, I know you will, and by now you'll probably get teary-eyed if that happened. Is that right?
Maybe so.
Yeah. It's okay. Well, I'll let you finish this off, Erica, since you probably have the seniority here, I would imagine, in terms of years served. Not in
actually,
age,
both
no.
of them actually have been here longer than I have. But I would just like to let everybody know that Fentanyl Awareness Day is August the 21st. We also do a lot of stuff as far as fentanyl education and trainings.
We didn't even get to that.
For naloxone.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute before we stop. Well, yeah, no, really, we got about 5 minutes left. I didn't realize that was part of your deal. Fentanyl is really, really a problem. And it's out of control. And so y'all have programs to help deal with that, right?
We sure do.
Well, tell us a little bit about that.
have done some trainings on our own, but also we have partnered with Drew's 27 Chains, which is another nonprofit that actually came from the loss of her son. She lost him to fentanyl poisoning. And we say poisonings because they are not intentionally seeking this drug. It just has been used to cut other drugs with. So they're just putting it in other drugs. There's no consistency. You may get this much one time and then 2 or 3 times as much the next dose. So we're really working to educate the public and also train them on how to use naloxone, because you're so much more likely to come across someone in an overdose situation than you are to have to use a defibrillator. But what's more readily available?
Do they have that? I know what you're talking about. It's like a nasal spray, right?
Yeah, we have that, and then we have an injectable, which we actually
like
recommend.
an EpiPen?
It is just like an EpiPen.
Right.
Really quick, easy to use. The Good Samaritan law covers you under those.
Good. Are they available at schools?
Nurses have them. Campus officers have them readily available. We're working to increase that access on school property.
Well, I mean, just
it's a work in progress.
I'm just thinking about my own situation in BHS. It's a big building.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it any bigger? It's
right.
And so I'd hate to be in a situation where, it's going on in my classroom or something like that, and I have to run down to the nurse and, that kind of thing.
You have minutes.
Right. So, but that's something for policymakers to decide. Well, I'm glad y'all have that, because I know it's. I read about it and I hear about it. I'm like, there's got to be a special place in hell for people who use fentanyl on people like that. Not the users, but the pushers. I'll be clear on my statement. The people that push that fentanyl, they put it in drugs and give it to people.
Well, right. And they're making so much money that the loss of lives doesn't seem to matter because it's such a cheap alternative way to increase their bottom dollar.
And they're taking advantage of addicts quite often. And I just...
or making new ones.
Making new ones. And so those people that are pushing this fentanyl, I'd hate to be in their shoes when it's Judgment Day, so to speak. But that's for another show.
Yes. Just follow us on Facebook, Reach Across Johnson County. Keep up with all the ongoings of what we're doing in the community. But also we try to share our neighbors and friends, what they do in the community as well. Some of our other partners with nonprofits.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate y'all being here, and I appreciate what y'all do for this community. I know RISE is going to be really, really a big thing. I'd like to have y'all on again right before maybe early October or late September, something like that. So, one last push, and we'll, at the end of the program, afterwards, we'll set up a time, unless you feel like you've done enough. I mean, you can never do enough publicity. I could tell you, we found that out, but...
Job's never done.
Job's never done. That's true. Job's never done, but... I'm glad you're having a second show, so to speak. A separate seminar. It'll maybe by next time we talk, you'll have that date squared away, and you can talk more about that. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
Okay, who knows? But you want to keep it secret right now.
Yes, for right now, because we're locking down stuff already, but we are definitely working on things already.
Okay. Well, thank you all. Y'all share this with your friends, particularly those that could really use this seminar. Either you have a loved one or yourself, certainly. Avail yourself with this opportunity. It didn't come along very often, and it doesn't come along in every community. So I appreciate very much what you ladies do. God bless you for what you do. And we'll see y'all on Monday. I have a friend from B&I coming in to visit. Our friend Greg is going to come talk about business. All right. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.